Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today on Stubble Meets Steel. Today I wanted to talk about blade gap and whether the measurements really add up. Does it really matter what the blade gap and blade exposure is to determine how aggressive or mild or how efficient a razor shaves? Let's take two similarly gapped razors and compare them today and do a little bit of a shave off. So today I have two different razors for us. This one is the Yaqi 70 SP scallop bar. This is all stainless steel. It has a 0.70 blade gap, and this is the Alpha Evolution 2023 Outlaw. This is also 316L stainless steel, 0.70 blade gap as well, and not the most 100% accurate of measurements, but laying the blade case against the top cap, the bottom cap or safety bar, and the blade to see where it lines Heiko shave style. I would say that both of them are neutral. The blade is not positive exposure and it's not negative. I would say it's in a perfect line on both of these razors. So on paper and observation wise, I'd say these razors should be very similar. So let's see how they shave. And I've been comparing a lot of different razors, and I find that the blade gap and exposure measurements are not the end-all be-all, especially the gap in particular. Blade exposure does kind of paint a little more of a accurate picture, in my opinion, as to how the razor is going to feel on your face. For me, I'm not huge on blade feel, so I don't like positive or especially excessively positive blades exposure. I prefer neutral or maybe even a little bit negative. I find the negative ones a little bit harder to work with depending on how the angle of it is set up. If it's got a really wide angle, then negative ones are okay, but I prefer kind of right there in that sweet spot, which is what these should be, neutral. Weight-wise, the Alpha, this is their 85 millimeter handle. This is about 113 grams. And with this particular handle on it, the Yaqi 70 is about 97 grams. So pretty similar in weight. Wet my face here. Keep it simple. I put a Arco shave stick and a little deodorant tube for ease of use. Rub it on my face here. There was a little bit left over, so I actually put some in some chapstick tubes as well. We're going camping at the end of June with our friends for a week, so I'll bring that with me and see how that works. Not that this takes up that much room, but even less in the little chapstick tube, because I'm probably only going to shave one, maybe two times. Start getting that 3-4 plus day growth. Just gets so itchy. All right, that should be good. Got my Yaqi 30 millimeter professional soaking. I made a big mess. That's all right. Got a lot of water in this. All right, go ahead and get rinsed up. I'm going to use the Yaqi on the right side of my face. For blades, I've got first used Gillette 7 o'clock yellows in both. This is my first stick of Arco or tub. First use of it in general. And you know, there's so much hype around what it smells like. urinal cakes, I've heard. Some people say it smells like citrus, home cleaner, house cleaner, like a disinfectant. I bought a used razor, the West Coast Shaving, the Charcoal Goods shaving razor heads that they sell, the 3-part kit. And anyways, I bought that off of a guy, and he asked if I wanted any Arco. So on this side of my face, Outlaw. So anyways, I got this Arco, and I just gave it to my couple of kids and my wife to smell candidly. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? To get some, you know, unbiased feedback. And it was interesting, the different reactions I got. My wife liked it. She said to her, it smells like a hippie shop's incense smell with a citrus back notes, or with heavy citrus notes as well. Messed up there, I grabbed the wrong one. Just for that bit, it's okay. Glad I caught it. You know what gave it away? The weight difference. I find that the Alpha definitely likes it more if you ride the top cap, a little bit more of a shallow angle. I find the Yaqi is a little bit easier to work with, has more of a traditional angle. I don't have to ride the top cap as much. All right, nice first pass. My daughter said the Arco smelled like citrus house cleaner. I thought it was funny because I didn't prompt her, and I didn't plant any seeds in their head. I just gave it to them and said, "Here, what does it smell like to you?" It's very slick for a cheap soap. Put a little bit too much water in it, but I was able to work most of it out. Came out pretty good. All right, go back to the Yaqi side. Very easy to work with right there. Pretty windy, sounds like something just blew down outside. All right, now we're gonna switch to the alpha side. All right, felt pretty good. All right, curious about this particular pass as well as the against the grain. Without spoiler alert, I remember not enjoying one of these razors last time on those two passes. So let's see if it was just that particular shave, that particular blade, or how it feels this time around. Back to the Yaqi side. Both razors are built equally well inside. Machining, tooling marks inside both of them in certain places, but nowhere that you really see. Everywhere that you can see is pretty polished out on the bottom of the base plate, and obviously the top and the safety bar and the sides on both razors is well polished. But on the inside of the base plate and on the top cap on both razors, you can see the CNC tooling or machine path marks. So quality is pretty equal on both in that regard. Both 316L stainless. Similar weight. The Yaqi offers quite a variety of handles. With the Alpha, he offers 3 different variations, 285 mil and then the 95 millimeter Bravo. To me, 90 is long enough. 95, I don't really like handles that long. So I got the 85. To me, that's my favorite. And smooth that time. I quite like the smell of this Arco. It smells good. Nice and refreshing citrus smell to me. So I've just been experimenting with different razors with different blade gaps and exposures and try to see, does that really paint the best picture of information? It does to some degree. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't really like positive blade exposure razors very much. I just feel like it feels like it just wants to bite me all the time. I know a lot of people like it because they can quote unquote feel the blade and feel like it's easier to work with in some regards. I get what they're meaning. It's easier to see or feel if a razor's on edge or cutting edge, the ideal cutting edge, the ideal cutting angle, if there's a little bit of blade there. I understand what they're saying, but I personally prefer a more neutral blade feel. All right, the Yaqi side, let's go against the grain. Both razors feeling very nice so far. On the across the grain, the Alpha felt fine that time. There's a lot more blade clamping on this new Outlaw evolution, especially compared to the Yaqi. Blade clamping as far as how much it torques the blade when you tighten down the top cap and the handle. The Alpha torques the blade quite a bit downward. The Alpha, or not the Alpha, the Yaqi really doesn't torque the blade very much at all. Mildly in comparison anyways. It does a little bit, but nowhere near to the level that the Alpha is. All right, let's see. Hard to say, but possibly technique or lack of, but there's a lot more pickup here on the Alpha side than on the Yaqi side. Got a lot more. There's just a little bit of a pickup here I'd like to get, a tiny bit maybe here. I think the Yaqi is a little bit more efficient. It doesn't seem like the Alpha wants to pick this up. I don't know how many times I go over right there. I don't want to irritate it, so I'm going to leave it. There you go, let's see. There you know, let's see. Let's see if I can get it with the Yaqi. Yep. It's weird. All right, I'm gonna rinse off. All right, spray down with some witch hazel. Let that soak in while I talk. So this wound up being a great comparison, at least for me anyways. The blade gap measurements on the same being very similar as far as 0.70 blade gap, and the blade exposure being seemingly neutral on both of these, wound up being a great head-to-head. The weight is very similar, they're both completely stainless steel, so this wound up being a really good comparison. Being honest, the Alpha, the last few times that I used it on the across the grain and against the grain was very, very rough for me, and I didn't enjoy it. I tried a few different blades in it, and I did try this yellow 7 o'clock in it before, so I don't know if maybe I got a bad blade or what, but this time I enjoyed the shave a lot more. I will say that Arco soap was really, really slick, shockingly slick as a matter of fact. Overall, I want to say that I think that I like the Yaqi a little bit better. On the Alpha, it seemed maybe a little bit smoother on the across the grain, but the against the grain pass, especially underneath the mustache area, the Yaqi was a little bit smoother. Efficiency-wise, you guys saw me trying to do the cleanup pass there with the Yaqi. I had no problems getting it done, and it picked up a lot more to begin with anyways. Trying to do the cleanup pass on the Alpha right here, I just couldn't seem to get it clean. It seemed like unless I was going to start pushing and putting pressure, which I really don't like to do. One critique I have of overly clamped blades like this, I had the Razor Rock Mamba 53 and 70, which really torques it down quite a bit, as well as the Razor Rock BBS, and all of those really curve the blade pretty substantially. I find that, I saw another gentleman mention it too, and I find that for me personally, it kind of creates a little bit of irritation after, so I'm curious to see how the shave goes after, while I'm sitting there later in the day tonight, if one side of my face feels a little more irritated or if they both feel similar. But I find that the super clamped, super rigid blades like that sometimes irritate me for whatever reason. I don't really know why that is. You would think if the blade was clamped so tightly like that, one, it would be more efficient, there'd be no movement of the blade, and you would think if anything it would create less irritation because there's no blade chatter. So I find that particular note interesting. Overall, I would say, at least shave-wise for me personally, I think the Yaqi 70 SP, like I said, in regards to just efficiency alone, I think that the shave angle is a little bit easier to work with, and it was just a tad a little more efficient for whatever reason. Build quality, they're both exceptionally built, fully polished stainless steel, gorgeous razors. They both feel really nice in the hand. Again, the Yaqi, you can hold a slew of different handles to your liking. Price point, a huge price difference here. This Alpha is about 140 shipped, where the Yaqi is about 60 bucks shipped with handle and everything. So a big price difference between the two. For me personally, I think the Yaqi is my little bit of a go-to there. I did pay for both these razors out of pocket. Nobody sent me anything here. So, I find that the gap measurements and stuff can be a little bit misleading. I have a 1.15 Shield Gem, and that is smooth sailing, and I can shave great with that too, and I don't feel it's overly aggressive by any means. So the blade gap is not nearly as important in my opinion as the blade exposure. Oddly, that same Gem Shield razor does have some pretty positive exposure. If I remember right, it's 0.12 or 0.012, I'd have to look. But again, positive blade exposure, where these are neutral, and I didn't find that there's a huge difference there. So moral of the story is, don't be afraid to possibly try razors, or if you have a buddy that has some, see if they'll let you, borrow one for a little bit and try it and see what you personally like, because what I personally like or what your buddy likes is two totally different things. My buddy loves the Alpha, especially in the titanium. He said it's one of his favorite razors. So everybody likes a little bit something different. I prefer a little bit more mild medium with higher efficiency. So that's what I kind of gravitate towards. I would say that something to compare these particular razors to shave wise, I would say they probably feel like more of a Rockwell 4 or 5 for comparison's sake. So that's my 2 cents, gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the review and something to think about. But both of these razors are good shavers, and whichever suits your fancy, you can't go wrong with either one. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.